Ungdomsradio.
Hello everyone, this is Marta.
And this is Anna.
And this is You've Got 5 Options show without our intro, so we got like shocked.
Hello, Dennis.
Hello.
So we have a new technician, Dennis, and I think that we didn't really remind you that we have to also have our intro, but you know now that you are listening to... Dennis, can you please help us with your wonderful Danish?
Hej.
Ungdomsradio.
Ungdomsradio.
Thank you very much. So yes, hello, this is You've Got 5 Options, Marta and Anna.
Yes, and we have a special guest today with us at the studio.
Yes, we do.
Hello, I'm the special guest, I guess.
Yes, yes, we have a special guest, and we will interview our special guest in a spirit of our new season. We are starting from today a new season in You've Got 5 Options Radio, which is called Coming Back to the Roots. How does it sound?
Sounds like very deep.
Very deep because of the roots, right? Yeah. What do you think, Jessie? How does it sound?
It sounds very deep, but at the same time, it reminds me that you create roots wherever you go. I can explain this further in the show with something very interesting I experienced in Israel.
Okay, we will get back to that. But guys, so what can you expect from the new season? Marta, we have never really made a division per seasons, but we have discovered that somehow our shows are divided into 2 different eras, right?
Yeah, we had the first era that was about solving challenges. And that was the first few months of You've Got 5 Options. We were all the time solving challenges that we have received from our listeners just by email or message or something like that. And we were solving those challenges by providing 2 different options.
Five.
Five different options. And,
but only 2 options were the right ones. Now Marta just sold the whole concept.
You know, the 5 is kind of 2 upside down, so it was just...
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the second season, we could call it like that, or era, was about interviews. So then we really got into interviewing people, and we've had a lot of people joining us here at the studio, and we have learned a lot from many different guests that we've had. Mm-hmm. And now we are inspired to have another new era.
Yes, exactly. And that will be our 3rd season. And as I said, it will be coming back to roots. So, guys, just to make it clear, we did not stop with solving life challenges, but I think while we switched into this 2nd season, as now we can call it, and started to invite guests, we stopped receiving challenges. We started receiving a lot of requests from people to actually come and join our show. But guys, we are still solving life challenges. Actually, we kind of miss it a little bit now.
Yeah, we do. So if you are sitting there with a challenge, something either personal or maybe at work, maybe relationship related, and you would like to receive 5, not 2, but 5 options from us, we are very ready.
Very ready to do it again. And
1, 2, 3.
Wow, Dennis, what is that? Did you wanted to show us the 5?
I touched nothing.
You touched nothing. Very spooky and mysterious. But you can, this is a proof that we are live on air, right?
Definitely.
Because if we would just record it, then we can cut it out. But no, you will have the mysterious one too. I just hope that nothing will blow up soon. Okay, perfect. So, and we also still have guests because Jessie is our guest here, but this season will focus on something different. So I think Marta and I, we were thinking about the world because we are such a great thinkers and philosophers. Now, we are just humans who like to think about the future of the world and also why people are happy, what is our purpose. How can we feel more joy in our lives, feel more fulfilled, and so on. And one of the things that we have discussed is that we feel people are getting more and more disconnected from the nature and from some universal values. and everything gets very digitalized, very superficial. Although I don't know, now I think maybe it's just every generation thinks like this. Could be, right? Every generation always complains about, the new times. But I think it's also about the amount of people we meet who are seeking for something, who are saying that they don't feel happy, something is missing, they don't see a point. Right, Marta? I think this is basically not only our own observation, and we could also see it in our challenges that were coming to us in the first season, and through the guests that were coming and talking about different things they were coming through, lack of purpose, what is happening, and then trying to find that thing. So in this season, we will talk about a lot of things that could be connected to this. We will talk about universal skills and values of humankind. We will talk about topics like what is really important in a times of apocalypse, because that's actually one of interesting topics that are making us feel about humanity as the whole. Marta also has her specialty, which is...
So I am very much, when it comes to coming back to the roots, Anna is very much into those universal skills in case of apocalypse and so on. I am much more into coming back to yourself. How is it to come back to yourself? How is it to experience joy? How is it to align with your purpose? And this kind of thing. So I am more into coming back to the roots of yourself.
So you have it covered from two sides, Mm-hmm. So this show is definitely for people who are seeking for something more. This season is for those who feel a little bit lost and think that something is not really right, who feel like they get disconnected from other humans, from the nature, and would like to know what are the ways to rediscover that connection. And for any other people who are our great fans, we know that we have at least 5 great, amazing fans. So yes, and what kind of guests, Marta, we would like to have on the show?
So we would like to have guests who are also interested in those topics. Mm-hmm. So if you are sitting there with some great ideas about what are those universal skills that humans need to have in order to survive in case of a change in the world, or how do you actually connect with nature? How do you connect with yourself? How do you connect with other humans? And we actually have some list of topics already, so maybe we can publish the topics on our Facebook fan page and on our website. So actually we would also be then looking for the guests who are interested in those specific topics.
Definitely. So guys, we are open to hear anything from the most bizarre to scientific to whatever visions, knowledge, experiences you have. And yeah, with that wonderful introduction to our new season, we will soon introduce our guest. But before that, our guest will play a song that is apparently about her. So you will hear it, and then you will hear Jessie and the story of the song and the story of Jessie.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Xhensile, 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 Xhensile.
Din partid vid biciclette, fluturant por sushi. Essa espeta num balão, semáforo no respeitou. Essa chambinha motor, colgalhão numa vendedor. Provado na licenda aos cos, de algebrantarro.
I busquets un boterhab, branda meia em banho huragan, per chafona romontando em Afghanistan, futuro. Curvas un boterhab, branda meia em banho huragan, per chafona romontando em Afghanistan, futuro. Xhensile, 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 Xhensile.
E é provando de paixão, de quitar um bom som. Na kurs mluvit i vår koncept säger sexbomb. Ihe bukur ato hapa sepse mamit ka betaka. Sot e nesër të mësosh, po mua kur të më takosh.
Ti busqesh shumë botë hap brënda meje mba një uragan Kur përqafon aromën tënde ndjej dhe një stër Fluturoj Kur busqesh shumë botë hap brënda meje mba një uragan Kur përqafon aromën tënde ndjej dhe një stër Fluturoj shumë botë hap brënda meje mba një uragan Kur përqafon aromën tënde ndjej dhe një stër Fluturoj
Holy crap. So this is a song for you
Yes.
and about you.
It is.
Okay,
It is.
I have to say that because we only heard like a couple of seconds before we went on air before, it's a really good song. It's like I would say that this is like a hit probably in a country where the language is spoken, I would say. Very good song. It sounds
Thank you.
nice. So Jessie, tell us, I don't know, can you tell us who you are through this song?
Yes.
Because I only heard sex bomb. That's all I heard.
And huracan, which is
And something about the bike, if it's
Yeah.
yes, okay,
That's very universal, I guess.
yeah,
Universal words. Well, that's also the reason why I brought the song. It's because I think it says a lot about me. The song is called Xhensila, just like my name. Xhensile Reci is my name. And I think it really represents me. It's made by a very dear friend, and all credits go to him. He's an artist in Albania, where I come from. His name is Pierre Noshi. He has a very French name, Pierre. Just like artists, all artists have French names. I care a lot about him. He's a really, really dear friend. And we had a lot of fun doing songs together. Two of them I will play later, where I was also singing. But this one was a surprise for me for my 19th birthday. And the song is about that period of my life, actually. He knew me very well, so he knew what I was doing at that period of my life. I was among the few people who were biking in Tirana, in Albania, where I was living. So I was biking everywhere, to school, to work. I was studying IT back then. So if you heard algebra was something that was really, I was really struggling with. So I was talking to him about that. And then I was working as a model. And that's why you heard sex bomb and Uragan and stuff like that. So I was biking to the school, then I was biking to my work. And then basically I had no time to do music stuff with him and fun stuff. So it was also a request from him to spend more time doing what I love, singing and listening to music and hanging out with my friends. And he's
okay. Do I sense a little crush from his side? Maybe.
It's possible. The song is very personal, so not everyone knew me very well. But we were really, really good friends. So nothing more, of course. But I remember it, and I've played it sometimes just as a memory of him, because now we don't spend that much time together. And I thought, this is a really good song to introduce myself. This is exactly who I am, doing a lot of things at the same time. And sometimes I don't even understand why am I doing so many things and what am I doing. So it's good to come back to the roots and find the purpose of what you're doing. But yes, I really, really want to thank him. I don't think he is listening to this show.
This will be released as a podcast as well,
good.
so you
I
can
will
always
send a link.
You can always send him a link, and because I assume you would have his agreement to have a copyright to the song, we can keep it in a podcast, right?
Yes,
Okay,
I will.
perfect.
I will ask for his agreement, and I will send him the link. And I also
Perfect.
send him very, very huge hugs and regards from this show. And again, as I mentioned before to you, this song has never been played before
So
for
this
the
is
public.
a premiere.
So this is the premiere of the Xhensila song.
Awesome. Awesome. I have two thoughts. Number one, no one ever wrote a song about me, and oh my God, why? This is really sad. The only big mistake, although my boyfriend sometimes sing a song for me, which is Take a Look at My Girlfriend. She's the only one I got. And I don't know if I should take it as a compliment. He just claims he likes the song. I don't think it's coincidental. And the second thing is that I actually have quite an interesting image of you at that time. So we have Xhensila, aka Jessie, riding her bike as one of the very few in Tirana, studying her stuff, doing a lot of things. And then I'm trying to place you from that moment to Denmark. So what happened? How did you arrive here?
So at the time, while I was doing many things, I was studying computer science, IT, and I was feeling a bit stuck. I kind of liked the studies, but I didn't like the system and how much corruption there was at the time in Tirana, and my professors who were almost never coming to class, and when they were coming to class, they were making us buy their very expensive books, who they were writing. And so I saw many problems with the system, so I wasn't very happy. And at the time I was also working as a customer care service agent in a call center. So there I met a lot of colleagues, and one of these colleagues told me that he had this experience in Denmark. He actually couldn't stop talking about it. He was like, Denmark, when I was in Denmark, this happened and that happened, and I was the happiest guy ever. And then I was just like, shut up, please, let me live my life. And then he said, you know what, I think that experience that I had would be really good for you. So you should give it a try. You should just apply. So what was the experience? It is a højskole. I don't know if you've heard, it's a Danish word. So it's almost a boarding school. Yes.
Dennis confirms that it's a Danish word.
Yes. So it's a boarding school concept where you basically go to learn about life generally. It's founded on Grundlov, I think, this very old Danish guy who wanted to... Grundtvig, yeah, I'm so sorry. Grundlov is the main law of Denmark. It's Grundtvig.
Yeah, okay.
So a very old philosopher who had this philosophy about being human as one of the most universal values. And he created these schools as a representation and manifestation of his philosophy, where people would get together and learn about life and different subjects too. Well, it has changed the concept. So now the højskole where I attended is more international. I was learning about Danish culture, language, art, music, painting, many other things. We had the adventure class where we were going skiing and other adventure stuff. So I considered it as a 6-month year or a gap year, actually. So I thought, okay, I will stop my studies, take a break for a year, and then come back. And that's how I came to Denmark, to have a 1-year højskole experience.
And then afterwards, because you actually have just graduated something
Something.
yesterday, yes, and that's not the Højskole.
No. Højskole was very long time ago. It was in 2014.
Okay.
It does feel like a long time ago.
It only feels like it's not that long. No, I refuse to think that. Yeah.
So that's when I graduated Højskole in 2014. During Højskole, I had this life-changing experience because, one, I realized I connected with myself through being there, knowing new people. I found out that the world is much bigger than I thought. Meeting people from all over the world, Danish people, Norwegian people, Hungarian, Polish, everyone. There were many nationalities. I've even heard very sad stories from Afghanistan or Israel. So it just opened my worldview and my world understanding. And so, except for that, I also fell in love while I was in Højskole.
In UX design or in an actual person?
That's a good question. No, my love for UX design didn't start there.
Okay.
That was for an actual person.
Ooh la la.
His name is Kent. Today he is my husband, and we
Okay.
live together in Aarhus, very close to this radio station, actually. So, two reasons to come back to Denmark. First, I really like the country. I like the philosophy of living here. And then...
And you like the Kent.
And I liked the Kent.
Yes, because otherwise that would be a sad marriage.
Definitely. Yeah.
So we would like to say a very special thank you, Kent, for being one of the reasons why Xhensila is here. And greetings to your husband. I guess he's listening.
Yeah. He's at work right now, but he will be listening.
Awesome.
When we release the link.
Yeah.
So those two reasons brought me back, not immediately in 2014, but in 2015 in Denmark to study. Initially, I studied marketing management with a focus on digital marketing, where I realized that I was really interested in the messages that I believe are the right ones, to spread them. And that's what you do with marketing. You spread messages, you spread your beliefs, you spread whatever you think is important. And of course, digital marketing is the most efficient way, let's say, to do it in this year and in back then when I was studying. But still, I thought that I was missing something. I was missing the more creative part, the part right before you spread the message, the part where you actually create the message. And so I decided to top up my studies with digital concept development, which is what I graduated yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a very special day, and I had a lot of fun. And so during that a year and a half of these studies, I learned how to actually create solutions, digital solutions for the world, digital experiences, and how to create and curate these experiences so they are actually useful and usable for the people who will sit on the other end of the screen. So I'm the person behind the screen.
That sounds very stalkerish in some.
I am stalking all of you.
Of course you are, because you know so much about digital. But that's a great story, especially that part when you say that you wanted something more, that you wanted the creative part. And just before we will play your second song, which is not now, but I'm just signaling, I also have a computer and I'm behind the screen and I see the whole schedule for today. There is something I would like to ask you. And we were thinking about this, and actually I shared that with you. If you would have to explain to a 5-year-old, but actually not a 5-year-old, because 5-year-olds these days are super smart. If you would have to explain to a 70-year-old what does the user experience designer actually do, what would you say? A very simple explanation for us little people.
That is one of the greatest challenges of every UX designer, user experience designer. I have my own podcast, as you know, called Digital Nordic Creatives, where I interview design professionals. And I asked each and every one of them to explain me how they would explain their profession. And I think the one that stuck me the most was the one from Stine. She's a user experience designer at Designit. And she said that while she was interviewing a little child, and often children have the same understanding as 70-year-olds,
Yeah.
She said that the child said, I want to use the good computer, which is my mom's computer. Okay, but why is your mom's computer the good computer? Well, it's because it's so easy to use. And the mom's computer was a Mac, while the dad's computer was a PC. Not to say that Microsoft doesn't create good solutions, but a Mac is very child-friendly and elderly-friendly and everyone-friendly. It's very easy to use. So at the core of user experience design is easy to use. That's the key word.
So
that
basically,
you should
creation of things that are easy to use.
Yes. So to a 70-year-old, I would ask them to remind some of their experiences in their life and tell me those moments where they didn't have any frustrations or where everything just went flawlessly and easily. So if they can give me that answer, then I can tell them that's what I do. I make sure that you have those flawless experiences just on screen.
Okay, that sounds convincing.
Mm-hmm.
Really convincing. And it's not so mysterious and I would say unknown anymore.
Yeah.
And
Can I also...
Yep.
Sorry for
Sure.
interrupting.
No,
just
no problem.
expand it a little bit more.
Yep.
It's just like everyone that wants to talk about their profession, they can
Yep.
talk all day, but just a little last clarification. User experience design is a branch of web design. But because web design, when it was created, a web designer could fulfill all the roles, just make a quick website and then make some content and that's it, publish it. But a user experience designer just goes into the depth of very complex systems, like the system that, I don't know, a nurse will use to register patients and to register hours and everything. So it's very much about the information structure, information architecture behind these very complex systems. So it's not that, what to say, fluffy and beautiful when you're doing the work, but the actual process is what fascinates me more, the process of creating these solutions based on actual human research.
Okay, so basically all those crappy websites when I cannot find navigation or I don't know how to come back up, it's done by a very unskillful user experience design.
Yes.
Now I know who to blame. Okay, perfect. I hope that we will be able to incorporate as much of your knowledge into the upcoming topics of our today's conversation, meaning apocalypse. For the designer, meaning how would you use your skills in a times of apocalypse, right? So before we will get there, we will play the second song and you can actually just tell us, are you singing there?
I am singing there, yes.
Perfect, perfect.
The song is very slow, so it's not at all in the nature of the powerful song that we played in the first
Okay.
part of the episode. It's a cover song by, so the song is October and April. I don't know if you've ever heard it before. Some people might have heard it and might recognize it. It's just a cover, so it's not an original song that we wrote together. We were just feeling that we really liked the song and the melody and the feeling that it gives to people. I know that it's not October and it's not April, but just try to enjoy the vibe of the song. It's very slow, and it just will maybe give us the feeling that the apocalypse is coming, because it's also a bit tragic.
Wow. Okay, Dennis, hit it.
She was like April sky, sunrise in her eyes, child of light, shining star, fire in her heart, bright as day, melting snow, breaking through the chill, October and April.
He was like frozen sky in October night, darkest cloud in the storm, raining for years on, coldest snow, deepest chill, tearing down his way. October and April.
Like hate and love, worlds apart. This fatal love was like poison right from the start. Like light and dark, worlds apart. This fatal love was like poison right from the start. We were like loaded guns, sacrifice our life.
We were like love undone, craving to entwine.
Fatal touch, final thrill, love was bound to kill.
October and April.
Like hate and love, worlds apart. This fatal love was like poison right from the start. Like light and dark, worlds apart. This fatal love was like poison right from the start. Hate and love, worlds apart. This fatal love was like poison right from the start. Light and dark, worlds apart. This fatal love was like poison right from the start. October and April. October and April. October and April.
Well. So Xhensila can sing on the top of everything, and this is a good news for you, Xhensila, because now we will be talking about a designer in a time of apocalypse. And from a quick research I have done, apparently musical skills would be something of a high value. So if not your designer skills, you will be able to use your musical talents, because that's one of those things that apparently it's very valuable in a critical times. But okay, girls and guys, everyone who is listening, now we are going to the second part of the show. And at the very beginning, I wanted to ask you girls, what do you think or feel when you hear the word apocalypse? It's not a tricky question.
I feel like there is an angel on the horse coming to announce that the time has come, and the guy with the bird in heaven, he was a real one, and now you all regret for all your sins that you have made.
Yeah, I am also from Poland. So I think that this is what they tell us in a religion class or like a Bible school. I don't know how to call it, but I think that's one of the first things that comes to my mind. What about you, Jessie?
I immediately think, I don't think about the process of how it will happen. I think, okay, what are we going to do now that it happened? Now
But
that
you
the-
have a feeling that's something negative or just life-changing?
Very negative.
Very negative.
Everything
Okay.
is dark, everything is destroyed, and now suddenly we have to build everything up again.
Okay, so we have Bible to blame for that because apocalypse, the word apocalypse, that actually comes from the ancient Greek, and I don't know any Greek, but I do have Googles, so I can check those things, literally mean an uncovering. So it's a disclosure of knowledge or revelation. And in religious and occult concepts, it is usually disclosure of something hidden, a vision of heavenly secrets that can make sense of earthly reality. So actually, it's some sort of a revelation, which neutrally doesn't have to be negative and positive. However, because some smart guys had a revelation, and their revelation was extremely drastic and was talking about the final destruction of the world. And that was also included in a Bible, in a New Testament, as a revelation. This is the vision that most of us have when we hear the word apocalypse. So basically related to that biblical catastrophe when, all the bad guys will burn in hell and so on. The other meaning that we also are more and more accustomed to is, because of all the catastrophic movies that I guess we were watching, and that's always called the apocalypse, right? The apocalypse is coming. So I would prefer for this time try to get a little bit neutral for the world and just imagine that this is some sort of a end of time scenario that can be the end of an era or the end of how we live currently, and we are going to some other level, or there is some sort of a revelation or a new information coming. But yeah, we can also think about the end of the world. So I have actually 3 scenarios for you today to discuss. And the first scenario is based on the idea that it's just the end of a special era. Apocalypse as, we don't live the same as we used to. We are in a completely new reality. And when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about the future. And guys, I was thinking about that 15 years ago, when I was a bit younger, I didn't have any of the things that I'm using right now on a daily basis, meaning internet was rather a luxury, especially when I was living in Poland. I got my first computer. There was not even a thing as a smartphone. It's like we had those old mobiles a la Nokia or Alcatel. And looking back in 15 years, what has happened is unbelievable. Of course, we cannot feel it so well because we are living in those times. But I guess if we would be 15 years ago traveling to this current reality, we would be really shocked. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. If we were just traveling straight from 15 years ago to today, without actually experiencing every development every day, it would be very shocking.
So I guess that's why it's also very shocking to read about the predictions that are made by futurologists, scientists, people who actually are not, who are living with these developments on a daily basis, and it's their job to make predictions like this. And I actually have one prediction for you. And I wonder, how would you, Jessie, relate to this prediction, and what do you think a designer could offer in times like that? And Marta, I'm just curious about your opinion. So the prediction comes from a guy called Vladislav Birukov. I guess he's Russian or of some sort of origin. And he's a head of customer social media at Kaspersky Lab. And this is what he said about year 2050. So it's in how many? 31 years? That's right? Please tell me I do the right mathematics. Yes. So it's only 30 years, and this is what he perceives the world will be. Most people don't waste any more time on traffic on their way to and from work. There's no point in spending the whole day in the office. Besides, not many people have an actual office anymore or a full-time job. The job market has significantly changed and many jobs have disappeared. Robot cleaners are sweeping streets working 24/7. Car sharing and self-driving cars have replaced taxi and truck drivers, and there are no police officers monitoring roads. Robots always follow rules, and there are cameras at every corner anyway. Shops don't need as many cashiers, and the same goes for schools and teachers. Restaurants do perfectly without live waiters. People who no longer have a job have a choice. They can receive basic income that provides for a very humble lifestyle, or they can learn to do something that hasn't been automated yet. But the competition for the remaining job is high. Well-qualified work requires constant learning, and not everyone can do it. Demonstrations and protests of people who have nothing to do become an everyday occurrence. So this is an actual prediction, not like I would say a medium or psychic or whatever. It's a guy who is sitting in those things, and he thinks that this is the world will look like this in 2050. What do you think about a world like this?
I think the guy
First of all, do you think it can actually happen?
I think the guy from Kaspersky hasn't been to China yet, because half of the things he mentioned are already happening in China. Robot cleaners, robot teachers, very normal. Automated cars as well. Maybe not all consumer level yet, but the development is getting there very fast, and China is developing very fast in that direction. I can say it because I was in China last year and I almost touched the development. So when I came back, it really felt like I was coming back on time, on the past, or to some very small village that didn't want to be very open to technology. But China is taking the lead.
So what's
this
happening?
development.
Have you had a chance to experience what people are doing? Like, are they working? How does it look like? Because here the basic premise of this prediction is that we humans, or actually our skills on the labor market, will become obsolete. There will be very few things that we will be able to do better, faster, or less accurate than, or more accurate than robots. So basically, it shows that many of us will go on universal low income, so we will be just paid to survive, and we will have not much to do. So I was wondering if you could see any of this prediction happening there.
Definitely. Faster than 2050. And universal basic income is a theory that was born in Silicon Valley not so many years ago, but from what I've read, it was born by or from the owners of the heads of the technological solutions that we have, you know, like Amazon, etc., Jeff Bezos. And it was born because of the guilt they are feeling for earning 85% of the world's health. And so maybe they would feel less guilty if they distribute this wealth equally to everyone, so that we could all have a minimal income and we could survive, and we could choose to go to work fueled by our passion instead of our survival instincts.
Okay, but the thing is that what kind of jobs will be left for us, because I might have a passion for sitting at the computer and mathematics. There are people passionate about mathematics, but no one will hire you because you simply are not good enough. So I guess my first question would be, first to you, Jessie, what skills that a user experience designer possess could be still relevant in a world like this? What do you think?
Okay, so the main and first skill of a user experience designer is empathy. And empathy is one of those universal values that humans possess to a lesser or a higher degree. That depends on the person. Usually people with higher empathy levels have higher chances of becoming user experience designers. And it's because the whole process of creating a digital solution or any solution starts with empathy, putting yourself in the other person's shoes and understanding what that person you will create the solution for is going through during their day, during their challenge, specific challenge. So it all starts with empathy and understanding. And after that, you try to define what problems this person, from the research that you made, what problems this person is facing, exactly 1, 2, 3 problems. And after you define, you try to ideate some solutions. You get ideas, how could I solve this solution,
So
this
basically,
problem?
your statement is that user experience designer job is not something that is chained to the computer and that's the only skill set you develop, but it's actually something deeper.
It is definitely deeper. And
Because I don't really think that many people perceive it in this way. I think when you think about a website design or anything that's digital, you see it very much in this narrow sense of doing stuff at the computer. And, if a robot can do it, then you don't have a job. But I guess we are still talking about the world where there is no artificial intelligence on the level of empathy or emotional intelligence yet, let's say.
that's true.
Yeah, but the second question would be, if you know this prediction, right? What are the skills you think our children or the next generation should focus on what could we advise them to study or to get better at? Do you have any ideas?
I don't really know.
No?
No, I don't know what our children should study. I mean, I have some thoughts about being human, and I have some thoughts about human connection. And actually, from this description that you have read, I actually think that jobs like waiter will actually be extremely needed, because I think people will not want to come to restaurants and eat there. If they are just served by a robot, then they can just stay home. So if we actually have a concept of a restaurant, I think that waiters will actually be super popular jobs, because people will not have so much connection. They will not be going to the offices anymore. That I believe in. So I actually think that this kind of jobs like waiters will be super needed and super human and super, because I think we will be we are already getting there, feeling so disconnected. The new generations who are raised in that era of just connecting through the phone and computer and so on, they are already experiencing this. And those basic human skills like talking, conversation, connecting on a deeper level, they are already declining. So I actually think that those are the things that will be super on spot, because,
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What if your robot waiter looks like a human, behaves like a human, speaks like a human? You can't tell that he's a robot. What if the development gets to that point where you cannot distinguish between robots and humans?
I would say that it will still be valid to some degree unless we all become this way. Because right now, for example, if I talk to people who are not in the deeper connection with themselves, I don't enjoy that conversation with them. So actually, even now for me talking to humans, I'm looking for those humans who are actually looking deeper and who have that empathy, who have that connection, who want to dig into, deeper stuff. So unless we as human race evolve into that level where we are like that we are just almost like robots, that we are all about some skills and I don't know, then maybe that could work. But if we are, and I see people looking and missing the connection. I see people reaching out for it. I see people, like, how can I come back to it? So, yeah.
That's very
I
interesting.
think that, Marta, you touched, sorry for disturbing, but I think you touched upon something very, very important, and that is that obsession or fixation of human beings on authenticity. And I just cannot stop thinking about the Blade Runner, a movie that is actually about a world of the future when we have the replicants who are androids that are acting, looking the same as humans. You cannot tell them apart, yet people want to know who is the real one and who is the robot one, because I don't want to have, we have something like this. We do. So Marta, that is a very interesting spin, because these predictions, they don't really take into the consideration this, I would say, human craving for authenticity, for human values, for those. They are very, I would say, strict to the point about the development. And there is this kind of I can see myself definitely as the old-fashioned person who will cook my own food. I can see that. I don't really think I would take advantage of that many technological developments, because I enjoy doing some things, by myself. So I think that this is just a vision of the world that is there, but it will not be relevant for as many people as scientists or futurologists are seeing. I have another, let's say, scenario for you, which is maybe a little bit more scary, but I would say possible, and I think it's worth to consider. So there are actually some predictions that we will be hit by a solar flare. And if you don't know what solar flare is, it's a flare from the sun that has some sort of a radiation that could potentially, let's say, fry our satellites, fry our GPS systems, and actually fry all the electronics. So we had already one huge thing like this. I think it was in 19th century. And because it was in 19th century and the only thing we had was telegraphs, it was not such a big consequence, although all the telegraphs were fried. And now we almost were hit by a solar flare like this in 2012, but we missed it by a couple of weeks. Whew. But some of the predictions by actually scientists are saying that very soon we will be hit by a solar flare like this, which would mean that it doesn't mean the end of the world. It doesn't mean a catastrophe in a natural sense. It means that we will be deprived of our technological development, meaning without no electricity and no electronic devices, we are back to the dark ages. And it doesn't look like we would recover very fast. It could take weeks, months, or even years, depending on the entire situation. So my question is, what user designer skills, Jessie, would you be able to use in a world where you basically cannot design on computer, and there is actually maybe not even that many businesses or people to design for, because we are really, really back to the square one?
Then I, as a user experience designer, would leave my head as my user experience designer head and go down to the roots, as we said in the beginning of this show. And sometimes I've heard people say that the smartest people are lazy people because they find the shortest solution, or the solution that takes shortest time to be implemented. So what I would do is find out the way to create alien contact as soon as possible, so that we could
Really?
yeah, not only restore our technology, but have the baseline of an even more developed technology.
Okay.
And that's like a chance to start over. The apocalypse is a signal of change, and it's a signal of starting over better. So
Yeah.
maybe then we'll have universal basic income, we'll have better technology, and we'll focus on doing the things that matter most to us, which is purposeful things.
Yeah, I guess I see your point. What would pose a bit of a challenge for me is the transition period. So from the moment where we are so used to using and we are so dependent on it. Many of us, we don't understand how those things work, you know? If someone would tell you, okay, so now you have to go and fix the generator, so it will, I would be like, excuse me, what? Yeah, so basically, I wonder how this period would look like. And what do you think, girls, would be the most universal needed skills I will say, besides the survival skills, which is to hunt, to find water, to find shelter, because those are the hardcore survival skills. What do you think? What soft skills we should be developing in order to survive in times like that?
Well, that just immediately makes me think of the Walking Dead series. Because that's where it really happens, you know, the apocalypse.
I watched only a couple of episodes, and Marta, you never saw it? No. So tell us quickly what those skills could be.
Yeah, quickly, except for the survival skills, which are the essential to survive. And in the movie, we can see that they become very essential when humans are now treating each other as hunting animals and trying to survive, to get to the food first and killing each other in order to survive. And that's where the human values have faded, because the survival has come on top of it. But the values that you can see in the movie developing as well is the need for trust, for a belief, the need to believe that something better will happen. So in the movie, at least, there is a leader who always makes them believe that we will reach a point where everything will be better. And that's, for me, the value of believing is one of the most important values to start establishing something new. The belief that you will reach your whatever you're thinking, you're dreaming about, as long as you believe and work hard towards it.
Okay, so we basically need the hope givers. Okay, Marta, what do you think about that? We actually have 2 minutes and then we are going out. So, Marta, what do you think about this? Hope givers and the skill set necessary.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about hope, and I was thinking about a book, Storyteller. That was about people in the concentration camp in Auschwitz, and the lady that was able to tell the story that was lifting the hearts of people who were basically set out for death. That was beautiful, because what she was giving them was hope and love and something to survive on in these, dramatic times.
I actually wonder if this is maybe that skill that we humans possess that is very unique to us, hope, lifting others up, love and compassion. I know that I sound like a marshmallow who just got into the microphone, but maybe that's the key. Maybe that's it. So I think we will have to slowly say goodbye to our listeners today. And this is such a pity, because we had so much more and I wanted to hear so much more from you, Jessie. But tell our listeners where they can find you, actually. We will have all the information at our website, the5options.com. So guys, you can always find the episode there with all the links. But Jessie, how can we find you?
So you can find me in all social media. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, everything with my name, Xhensila Reci. Please find it written, because it's very complicated to spell it. I have my website, www.xhensilareci.dk. You can find all information about me there. And in my free time, I do my podcast, Digital Nordic Creatives, which you can also find online. And I'm also, I like to call myself a community builder. And the community I'm talking about is ladies that UX owners. Yes, good sound.
You've got 5 Options radio show, where we hopefully convinced you that 5 indeed is a magic number.
Oh, that was the one that we missed in the beginning? Yes.
But
Okay.
that's the
To catch up with our previous programs, apply to be our guest, send us your life challenge, or just to see how do we really look like, visit our website, the5options.com.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and that you will come for more. That's all, folks!